Hey guys, what is up? We are back. This is M.I.Diverse, the talk show, podcast, whatever we are, where we try to stay on subject, we really do. But before we start, please like, comment, subscribe, do that all that fun stuff. Share the crap out of this. And we're doing something a little bit experimental. We're trying shorts. So we already have one or two posted already, so like go ahead and check them out. And just to kind of segue into this, I didn't really know how else to segue into this. We're talking about fan casting this week because John had a really good idea, and it kind of got me thinking. A lot of movies in the past decade or more have have a lot of fan castings. Some are good, some are bad. Sometimes they're good ideas, but sometimes fan castings are very shallow. Well, yeah. So, John, since you were the one that kind of had the idea for the subject, do you want to kind of go off with your thoughts or like your like couple pointers first?
Yeah, so for today we're going to be talking about fan casting. One of the things that we've seen a lot of in fan casting has been people wanting to see certain actors in certain roles, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the good castings that we've gotten recently, or really good castings, has been Kath. So far, what we've seen has been Catherine Hahn as Mother Gothel. I think
Mm-hmm.
so far she has been the perfect choice for this
Mm-hmm.
role because she can do the role. And sometimes when we have actors like fan casting for certain movies and shows and whatnot, for certain characters, sometimes it might look good on paper, but can the actor really do the thing that the cartoon character can do when
Yes.
bringing brought to live action?
Or even the comic character. I think and that's a good point because you might have an actor who just has the vibes, like the physical vibes of a character, but in the actual end, they're just not like fit for that character. They're not to say their acting chops are not good enough to portray a specific character, but let's say it's a lot of it's just based off of like visual features and not like actually watching an actor play a specific character. I'm trying to
And
think.
sometimes it feels like with casting, it feels like the cast is not being directed to play a character. It feels like they're being told to play themselves.
Yes.
Maybe they're being asked, what would you do in this position, and not what would the character do? Which is like, if that's the case, then it's like it gives me the impression that someone or multiple people are not doing their job properly. Because the point of being an actor is to absorb yourself, or at least I would think, like the point of being an actor is to absorb yourself into the character, really get into their mindset and their personality and how they would interact with the world.
I think one that comes to mind, which there was a lot of contention and a lot of like, pop up about in the last like couple months, and the movie's not out yet. The cast has been announced and everything, and the movie is being currently recorded as we speak. Sorry, I ran out of breath. Is Hunter Schafer as Princess Zelda? The question is more, Hunter, she is a good actor. I'm not trying to say anything in more detriment to her. Is just more, how can she play Princess Zelda in a way that feels more convincing to the character specifically, outside of Hunter Schafer's just general like facial shape. And a lot of the pictures, a lot of the arguments a lot of people use to, I'm sorry, I'm repeating a word, but the picture that a lot of people use to make the argument is, I think it's like at least a 5 year old, not even a 5 year old photo. It's a recent photo, but it's from like a carpet, like a big carpet event, and she has her hair down, like framing her face. It's very much giving, if you know Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess at all, wonderful visuals of a game. But I think that's what a lot of people get for like that specific why they want Hunter Schafer to be Zelda, just based off of her facial feature. It's like no, like I said, no detriment to Hunter Schafer herself. It's just more how would she be playing Zelda that the actress that is playing Zelda, might portray her in a way that's, satisfactory. Sorry, there was a big old thunderstorm over here. Satisfactory to the character and, more true to the character. So at least, that's at least one fan casting I think is like I can see, but it's kind of a narrow fan casting just because of visuals.
And also, I think some of it is, I mean, sure, they probably can act, but I think some of that responsibility also falls on the director to, direct
Hmm.
and tell people, clearly tell people what are they supposed to be doing, and like I say, actually play a character and not just be themselves.
Yeah, you can't just like do the Rock or play the Rock like how the Rock just basically plays the Rock and nobody else in his movies. Like not to be a detriment, but yeah, no, I do think I feel like Catherine Hahn is a good like casting regardless. And it's not to say like oh the idea is dumb. It actually brings a lot of like good like thought process into okay, well, in the not just the ethics, but like yeah, it is a lot of visuals too because Catherine Hahn just has that general like she has that shape, she has that mother vibe to her in a lot of her roles, especially Agatha Harkness. She has that mother vibe. So I do think that that type of fan casting actually does work. I had like one I've had one instance where I have had a fan casting that I have made up in my head that had worked out in the end, but I just more thought it was funny. But right now we're actually technically talking about live action actors, so I don't really want to like, get too far into it.
No,
So,
we can
but
we you can mention it. You can
okay,
mention it. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna mention it. I'm not gonna mention like this anymore unless we bring it up. So, if you guys know who Patrick Seitz is, he is a very prolific anime dub actor. And they did the show Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. And the guy who played the guy in Japanese who played the character had a specific gruff to his voice. And I was just like minding my I was, just shit posting on Twitter, right? And I'm like, oh, who would be a really good guy to voice this character? Patrick Seitz. And not a week later, a week later, they announced the dub for the anime, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Patrick Seitz plays this character." I'm like, "I am a prophet."
Oh my
I,
gosh, it's almost like they saw your tweet and go, bet.
I mean, honestly, they probably had it like months in advance. I don't pay attention to like anime dub castings. I was just like oh, the way that this character has a gruff to his voice, the way that he looks, the way he also like can be like a little pathetic. Patrick Seitz has just that like I'm a manly's man. I can sound this manly and all this kind of stuff, but I can also have this kind of like higher pitch, pathetic kind of sounding voice. Like it's like sorry, I probably blew out the mic, but you get my point. It's that like I feel like it is very much on the talent and more on and less on visual. That's why I keep making the argument of acting ability over visual because I see way too many ones that probably didn't work out near the end. And John, you mentioned this in prior to us recording was sometimes just actors don't have enough time to flesh out that version of their character. So I assume at least one of you guys has seen Multiverse of Madness. And a lot of people, okay, so I'll just bring it for John. So, John, you know that John Krasinski, a lot of people wanted him to play Mr. Fantastic for the longest time. I don't know if it's just me. I really feel like he did not perform in a way that I really felt like was satisfactory. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
maybe I'm. Nope, go ahead.
I, I think I think when it comes to John Krasinski playing that character, he just didn't get enough screen time. They didn't give him enough time to flesh out his version of the
Mhm.
character, is how I feel about it.
Yeah, because in kind of around the same time when they were doing this movie, there were also a lot of people were wanting Tom Cruise to play Tony Stark, but like superior Iron Man, evil Tony Stark. And like I know the fan casting was more that Tom Cruise tried out for Iron Man in like 2006 or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not trying to say that like whenever I think of Iron Man, I think of Robert Downey Jr.'s like honestly a little bit tired, smarmy attitude towards everything. But I just I don't know if I can personally imagine Tom Cruise to do to do an MCU movie. I feel like it's a little bit like below him for one, even though it's probably like one of the biggest franchises nowadays. And two, just his general vibe, it feels a little bit more like calm, cool spy, or like when he's not being a cool spy, he's a little bit manic. You know what I mean?
You know what the twist should be for Secret Wars when they end this whole freaking thing is wouldn't it be funny if Tom Cruise's version of Iron Man did show up, and then we had what's her name as Black Widow, and then we had what Emily Blunt as Black Widow, and then basically all the castings, all their second choices,
I feel like that's
all their
actually
runner-ups
I
being those characters.
I
Cast the
feel
runner-ups. Let's go, guys. You want to reboot the MCU? Cast the runner-ups. Call it a
I,
day.
I I feel like that's actually what they might do, just because I mean they're rebooting the whole thing, so they might as well. They're doing Battle World, and Battle World had like especially the 2015 Secret Wars. The Battle World had like many variants of characters. So I don't think it's unless they're doing the dumb thing and having the same actor play like all these variants of characters, even though there's several characters that are the same character played by a different actor. I really feel like that's probably something they should do.
Oh,
But
they
that,
wanted a twist, eh? You're
yeah.
gonna get a twist.
Another one
Mhm,
that I heard a lot of people bring up, and
mhm,
they did it for a gag
mhm,
in the MCU was Cavalrine. It's they had Henry Cavill be Wolverine. Not by obviously he's got a little bit of the gruff, but on a visual scale, like I
mhm,
cannot see Henry Cavill this like 6'2". He's not Brolic, but you know how big Henry Cavill is as a
mhm,
guy.
mhm.
I cannot see Henry Cavill being Wolverine. It makes no sense to me why you would get a guy that's like that tall to play a guy that's supposed to be. I mean, obviously, Hugh Jackman's been playing him for like 20 plus years, and Hugh Jackman's my height, and Wolverine's like 5'4". But you get what I'm talking about. It does. I don't think it worked out. It was a funny joke for the time, but it shows why it doesn't work. You're basically
And
having a Wolverine Hulk. Go ahead.
yeah. And you know what also doesn't work is how like Hollywood reusing the same actors, and it's like, granted, it's nothing new. They've always been doing this, because it's done as a quick way to get butts in the seats, regardless
Uh-huh.
if it makes sense for the characters and the world of story. Like, for example, when the cast for the Odyssey was revealed,
Mhm.
and when it came out, it's like, okay, first off, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing like by itself, there's nothing really wrong with the cast because it's like, obviously it is going to be a very like a very it's a very modern Hollywood casting, if you
Mhm.
will. And the thing is that yeah, sure, it wants to act like it's Greek mythology, but the problem is when you reference real events and real people, that it doesn't make sense. It feels like it wants to have its cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it's like I really don't I'm not super bothered about like the kinds of people that they get. I'm I mean, if they can, as long as they act act like, their characters and not just acting like themselves,
Mhm.
then it's like I'm fine with it. But if it contradicts what the movie is saying, then it's like, I don't know, man. It almost feels like, I mean, again, some of it is like the director's job.
Yeah,
And I think from reusing the same actors, I feel like it doesn't allow room for very capable yet underutilized actors who could probably do a better job. And this is where I feel fan casting is at its most useful because it gives recognition to actors which the industry isn't paying much attention to. And especially now with AI creating actors, like that one example that John sent to us, like I think last year, I forget exactly what it was, like that kind of stuff potentially jeopardizing many acting opportunities is like we need new voices in this conversation in order to keep this
yeah,
industry afloat.
yeah. We especially need actors who not just play themselves. We've saying it to death, but can play characters. There's so many actors who just play themselves nowadays, just because they're hot. You know what I mean?
Or like I remember seeing a teaser for a new movie called Digger, and it was basically just about look at all the roles Tom Cruise is in, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't care. I want to know what the frick this movie's about.
That's a whole nother plot of like trailers. Like that's a whole nother conversation about how sometimes trailers either give away too much of the plot or just like, you know, here's just like a hint of what we're doing. There you go. You know,
You
Or
know,
like I say, it's just an actor showcase at that
yeah,
point.
that trailer especially. What's up, Jen?
anyway, I was about to say, if they really wanted to make the Odyssey like a unique movie, if they really wanted to make a unique Odyssey movie, why don't they pull a Harry Potter card and just choose all Greek actors?
I wanted to say that was actually something I wanted to say, even though still don't like giving, Joanne or whatever her name is
Listen,
any like love.
you're not giving her much credit. You're just saying
Yeah.
you. I mean, I think the idea
Yeah.
of saying I want an all British cast
Oh yeah,
makes
no, 100%.
sense. 100%.
100%. 100% I agree. Like I think I did kind of start this conversation about making like not inherently negative, connotations about fan casting, but I have more like requirements. Like I know we're
Mm,
doing Wonder Woman in the DCU in like the next like year or so with Man of Tomorrow, right? My biggest requirement is at least she's either some sort of Greco-Roman, because I think the myth of Amazons is, of the Greco-Roman like origin, correct? I believe.
mhm. Yeah.
So at least from like that like area of the world, I'm not going to get into the last person that played her just because of, I don't want like something to happen to us. But, I want somebody that feels more Amazonian and not just like somebody who's got like a really like who's got a face card or whatever, No, she needs to be, you know, forgive me for making this joke, but I need my caramel Amazonian goddess to feel like an Amazonian goddess that is able to tan and not just look like I don't want a repeat of Khaled. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. We we don't need face cards in like these movies, or
Or
we're not
like
going to be taken seriously.
or like I say, Hollywood just calling up the same actor again and say, okay, we have another gig for you.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like I think it really is just kind of like one of those things. This is just such a gray area because there are
Yeah.
people that do have genuinely good ideas of like how fan castings can like end up because we got like one really good casting is Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I love Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. She plays a really good Ahsoka. But oh, it's just like you get to the other end of it. You get to the other end of it where it's just like I can see where you're coming with like some of this casting, but it's like this actor is just not a good actor or they only play themselves. I think what it's like whenever you get like Margot Robbie to play a blonde character, no detriment to Margot Robbie, wonderful as Barbie, wonderful as Barbie. Just more the fact that if a character is supposed to be genuinely attractive or she's supposed to be a hot, smart blonde character, yes, could it probably work that Margot Robbie could play a character that looks hot? Might somebody might think that she's a bimbo, but she's actually like very smart or whatever. Yes, Margot can pull that off. No detriment to her. But I kind of want to give some of these other characters a shot. There's another note. There's another note to this. Actors who are aged out of roles. You know what I mean? Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was about to say I totally agree. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude, but you've aged out of Marvel. I'm sorry,
I mean,
but you going, boy.
to be fair, with the whole thing of like him being like Doom,
Could have been that.
the only thing I can be like is like, well, hopefully his mask is going to be on like 90% of the time. But like after like hearing some leaks or whatever, it might come off for like a second. So I'm just really hoping they don't like schmuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one fan casting I did see where I'm like, this actor is too old to play this character
Mhm.
is Emma Stone as Batgirl. Like, don't get me wrong, Emma Stone, wonderful actor, wonderful actor. Just more, Emma's like what, a decade older than I am, I believe. She's at least in her 40s, at the very most in her 40s. And whenever I think of Batgirl, she's at least 5 to 10 years younger than Batman. So I feel like unless she's older and Bruce is like getting towards like Dark Knight Rises, not Dark Knight Rises, but the Dark Knight comics age where he's in his like 60s and 70s or whatever. I cannot see Batgirl being played by somebody who is pushing 40, especially when a lot of times Babs is usually like depicted as like somebody who is like in between either the same age as Nightwing or like in between most of Batman's Robins and Batman. If if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just there's some I just can't.
And
No, go ahead.
and also I think there's a lot, and going back to a previous point, I think there's a lot of gray area with who do we blame for a bad performance, the actor or the director?
That too. That too, because there are genuinely some good or decent fan castings that did look visually well, but in the end just didn't work out. I'm sorry to say, and I agreed with this fan casting for so long, but Jason Momoa, I'm sorry, buddy. You need a little bit more work. They need to give you a little bit better material or a little bit more to work with for your Lobo. Like it, he had the looks, but he needed that little bit more gruff. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he needed a
And
little
like I
bit more.
say, and like I said, is that really the fault of the actor or the director or
Yeah.
the writers, or because I feel like I I I I'm just really, I find it just annoying when people blame the actors for everything. It's like I just hate when they're scapegoated for a
Hmm.
bad performance when it's like, no, most of the time I feel it's the directors and writers' fault because it's like either they're not giving them enough direction or they're not being clear with their
Yeah.
direction or it's like whatever it is.
Or it's like the old adage, you can't act or write a shit script. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's a bad script, you're gonna get like bad acting. And there are actors who can adapt and give good reads to bad scripts.
AKA Tim Curry. Somehow he can save a bad script.
Hey, Tim Curry is an icon.
Yes.
Tim Curry is an honorary Muppet. So like you need to give the man his flowers for that.
Yeah.
That might not be 100% related, but like just by merit of acting.
I definitely agree because I think, as you're saying about like, it's really possibly really the directors. Because I think it's because if you approach an actor to say, what would you do in the situation instead of what the character would do in the situation, I think that's really one of the bigger problems. And it's definitely not the actor's fault. It's really the director's fault. And, it's the director's not asking for more passion out of an actor's performance, is what I
Right.
think.
And sometimes the production itself could be going through some level of development hell, so it's like anything people don't even know what's going on half the time.
I will say there are cases of an actor changing up the way that they portray the character that becomes more iconic to the character because look at Blade. Blade is supposed to be from England. He's supposed to have a little bit of a British accent, but you never have Blade talk with a British accent anymore. Or because you get Blade played by Wesley Snipes, Eric Brooks is does not have a British accent. He's supposed to be born in England, but he does not have a British accent. You could say he's lived in America long enough that he doesn't have it, but in the comics, he's not supposed to be American, if that makes sense. So there are cases that actors can make good decisions on like how to portray a character differently from the original source material that actually kind of fixes or makes like their portrayal good, so to speak. So I definitely think that it's all gray. It's all gray there because you can have like you said, you can have a really good actor like take a bad concept and make it good. So yeah, it's
Yeah. But as we allude to, that's very few and far between and usually are the exception.
Oh, you mentioned Tim Curry. I just remember because there was that leaked audio of Tim Curry playing the Joker. I'm sorry to say, after 30 plus years of hearing Mark play the Joker, I'm sorry, I can't. Tim Tim just doesn't have that like in the booth. He just doesn't have that voice. You know what I mean? He played
Yeah.
Pennywise. He played Pennywise really good, but just he doesn't match that vibe, so to
Yeah.
speak.
It's like Pennywise is definitely a different character than the Joker.
Yes. For those wondering, there is a clip online of Tim Curry did record for the Joker back in '92, I believe,
Like
or
for Tim
whatever.
Burton's Tim Burton's Batman, was it?
No, 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 no. It was the animated series
Oh, okay.
with Mark Hamill and sorry, I'm blanking on his name right now. It's very disrespectful. But you know who I'm talking about. Oh, like the to play Mark Hamill's Joker. Like do the voice of that Joker. And yeah, just it didn't work out. I actually that does kind of segue because I think I brought it up before, but I kind of want to bring it up one more time is like actors' performances. Like there's sometimes that actors get cast or fan cast because of like performances they've done in the past, where it's like, okay, you have to kind of understand the character better before you say, oh yeah, this character could play this like actor, or this actor could play this character. That the Tim Curry as Joker example is a good example because yes, Tim Curry played a really good Pennywise, and he played, when he's like when he was in his prime, of course, you know, he could he had a good like clownish like vibe to him, but actually putting that into execution, just there was not as much to go off of. Yeah, does anybody?
Yeah.
I've been talking like 100 miles an hour.
I'm actually going back to fan casting itself real quick. Is that I feel like whenever like it I feel like in some regards they should be the exception and not the rule because creators and franchises should ideally have a balancing act between interacting with fans and going with their own decisions.
Mhm.
So, and too much of either, it can become directionless. And also selecting actors really should be the job of the creative team, not a bunch of random people online who may or may not know what they're talking about. It's like, and even if you want to, I feel like they should only really be considered suggestions.
I think I think the problem when in some cases when it comes to fan casting is they don't ask the question, can they do this?
Hmm.
Can they perform
Yeah.
that? Can they sing? Can they do what needs to be done in the role? I think that's the question that everyone, when it comes to fan casting, is missing.
Yes.
So
Yes, because, sometimes you just have that, you can have that vibe. Some, like, going back to the Joker vibe. It's like, oh, yeah, this actor has that vibe of, like, oh, yeah, he could totally play the Joker. And then, like, when you get them to play that character, then their role is kind of flat just because they're,
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like that idea sounded better in your head, didn't it?
I mean, listen, I like, I, or a little bit more middle ground now of Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool, but he's been playing him for the last like 10, 15 years now. Yeah, you can kind of tell my opinion on it now. It's like that's all people can see for the character now. And it's just kind of frustrating. It's like the character is more than just the character is more than just hey, I'm this smarmy guy. He's right behind me, isn't he? Type of humor. I think that's just something that happened with the MCU started in 2008, in that he's right behind me type humor was like very prevalent in that day. And a lot of the people that are casting these people are kind of stuck in that like mentality of certain things. But I'm glad that the it am I going to kind of want to see what's going on with how she plays her? The indie, I can't remember her last name. The girl who's playing Rogue in the new X-Men, like coming up. I think there was somebody had a fan casting for that. That I I have not seen her act as an actor, but I've heard a lot of praise for her as an actor. So I want to see how she plays her. And I know because I grew up with Rogue from the 90s cartoon and the 2000s X-Men cartoon. I have to set my expectations up to I shouldn't expect a Southern Belle the whole time. Because in my head, I'm always thinking that she's a little bit of a Southern Belle. And I don't know how Indy can play a Southern Belle. So I don't know. Sorry.
And actually, when you mentioned about the right behind me sort of joke, or as the internet would call it, Marvel humor, but
Yeah.
it's like that type of joke has been around for like millennia, has
Yeah.
existed for millions of millennia. So it's like you really can't blame Marvel for doing that because they also have to make stuff that appeals to a wider audience, especially if they're going to be playing it in other countries.
Yeah, if
But
it's
it's all,
marketable.
but I think the problem with sidetracked here, I think the problem with Marvel is that they don't, that's all they do.
Hmm.
They don't flare it up a bit.
I think, and maybe they can fix it with this huge reboot. I mean, there was there's a 1 day controversy with the Spider-Man. We don't need to get into that. But I think what they did with Spider-Man Brand New Day was kind of a step in the right direction, that we kind of stagnated for like a decade when it came to like their writing. And I'm sorry to say, I do kind of agree that like something happened with the writing for the last like since Infinity War, not Infinity War, since Endgame, it just kind of got stuck in this like that just happened. He's right behind me. What's going on here? And you can still make those jokes, but play them down. Don't play them like as hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, is it accurate to say that after, I mean, I honestly feel like after Endgame, it just became like very directionless, especially how
Yeah.
Endgame just
Yes.
it played into nostalgia at the cost of breaking the world.
Yes. And I think, and
Oh,
honestly,
literally.
go ahead, John. No, no, no.
Oh, I was about to say breaking the world, literally.
Literally, uh,
Yeah.
I really feel like, and this kind of intertwines with fan casting. I really feel like the one thing that really hurt that like franchise in a storytelling device is the multiverse. The multiverse really kind of hurt as a storytelling device because they're trying to intertwine it like so much in a lot of these movies that like when they're trying to intertwine it, it doesn't really work. I feel like the only one that really kind of worked was like Spider-Man because like it was an accident that kind of like brought other people in, where like some of these other ones were just a little bit messier. And then the ones that were their own story, the ones that were their own story didn't have to really consider like concern themselves with it, like i.e. Thunderbolts or Spider-Man. I feel like they worked
And it's
because
really and it's
go ahead.
sorry. It's funny that you say that because in the beginning it was a huge gamble
Hmm.
at the
It
beginning
it was.
to be a multiverse. But now that it's gone far, I mean they probably knew the problems from the beginning with these things, but I think they just kind of went, let's wing it and let's see what happens.
No, because you're right. You're right. Bringing back actors or casting actors as different versions of a role does have like a little bit of detriment to it because it takes away from the actor who's currently playing a character. You know, it's like, oh, I'd love to see Christopher Daniel Barnes play a live action version of Spider-Man 1994. It's like, okay, well, that takes away from Tom Holland himself, and Christopher Daniel Barnes is also just, not physically, you know, I don't want to say he can't be physically fit for the role, but no, like it takes away from his performance as an animated Spider-Man compared to like, being like a live action Spider-Man. It takes away from Tom's performance. And I feel like that's also why, kind of going back, I mentioned No Way Home. Like I did kind of feel it worked. It also takes away from Tom as a Spider-Man when your origin story also has your in real life predecessors basically come not and show you up. I mean, I don't want to say he showed up his predecessors. They all work together. But, you know, it takes away from Tom's story to include somebody else like Toby and Andrew's like villains and all those like story arcs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but
they,
granted, all of that is for making the audience just clap and cheer, clap and cheer.
I mean, look at Deadpool and Wolverine. They have like fan castings. It is probably very poignant because he is going to be in Doomsday. And this has been going on for the last like 10 years or more. Channing Tatum as Gambit. Listen, it's fun, but I I just he does not have the face shape for me. Maybe it's just the mask that they're using just doesn't like cut into his cheeks enough. But Channing Tatum just doesn't have the like his face is a little too round. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like I'm not trying to
Yeah. I mean,
he
I
He's
don't
supposed to be
even know
hot.
what he looks. I mean, I don't even know what he looks like, so
have
it's
you ever
like I
seen
can't
He's
really.
supposed to look hot.
yeah. Have you ever seen 21 Jump Street or know about 21 Jump
I
Street?
know about 21 Jump Street, but I haven't watched it
Or
yet.
or if you've ever seen the meme of the guy that's going like, my name's Jeff. That's
Oh yeah,
Channing.
yeah.
That's Channing Tatum. It's it may and it's no detriment to Channing Tatum. He is a huge nerd. He loves Gambit. Maybe like we're saying, maybe he needs more time with the character. But at the current moment, I'm not optimistic because of how everything's just been kind of steamrolled because of one actor's like fuck up. I
Yeah.
Everything's been steamrolled because one actor decided to be an actual like human garbage, and then now we're here. Now we have an actor coming back to play a different character, and we're getting a fan casting being a central character to a movie. It's like, come on, guys. Like we need like
I think
I
if
don't
anything, that just I think well, if what you're based off of what you're saying, it's like yeah, I think it just goes to show just how much of them they're not handling this real well. They don't have
no.
very great planning.
It's
They
all
didn't make.
optics. Go ahead, John.
I was about to say Marvel. They just didn't make a plan. They didn't
They
make a
didn't.
plan. No, they just went.
They had Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars planned out years ahead of time. And Jonathan Majors decided to be a terrible human being and beat his significant other. Then he gets arrested, and now he's doing Daily Wire movie. That's a whole nother like can of worms. So they had to rewrite the whole thing to fix one issue, fix an actor being a complete like incorrigible, not incorrigible, but terrible human being. It's I love this franchise. I love these movies as movies. I still love the comics, but how everything is being handled is a very like corporatized movie. And I really hope, however, like the Russo brothers handle this movie. Sorry for people watching at home. This episode was supposed to be about fan casting, and now I'm getting into the logistics of corporate and movies being basically ruined by corporate. But anyway, hey,
We can never escape from it.
corporate overlords, all it's all the corporate overlords of Disney are only worried about optics. So that's really what it all kind of boils down to. And it's
And
probably
I thought the Russo brothers didn't they? I mean, are they still with Marvel?
yeah, they're the ones doing Doomsday.
Oh,
They're the ones doing Doomsday. I do hear that the Russo brothers do actually like Secret Wars as a story, especially like the older one. So like, yeah, it could be good, but I'm still a little bit trepidatious.
I thought that after all this time they left already, but I guess they're still.
They're still here. They're still in the basement.
Oh no.
I I wanted to make one more point. I think this is on something that DC does that Marvel barely ever does. Is they do Elseworld stories. I've talked about this before, I think. Is you can make a movie about a character that's separate from you can get a movie character fan casting for a character, separate it into a different world, but still be by the same studio and everything. But in DC's case, it's an Elseworld story. It's not canon to like the main like movie universe. Look at the Batman. Robert Pattinson, wonderful Batman, but he's not going to be the DCU Batman. He's just not going to be the DCU Batman. That Batman is too. It's like with Christian Bale's Batman. He's too here, and there's not enough in his world to have a blue Boy Scout that can fly down and take him to a watchtower up in space. If that makes sense. Does that like I don't know. I don't know. So, John, I've been talking a million miles an hour, but you are the one that started this subject. Do you have any more notes before we go that we can
Nope.
blab on about?
No, I think.
Yeah, no, it's again, this is a weird subject. It's a weird subject because we all have our opinions on it. We all have at least me and John, I don't know if Jenna, if you've ever had one. We've had at least one or two fan castings. Some are good. Some are just not going to be good. Like I think we can all agree, some are just not going to be good.
And
But that just
sometimes they just, even though they're a good idea, it just never happens.
exactly.
I was thinking, so if I had a person, I was thinking about a personal fan casting for like, since Narnia is getting a reboot, I
Mhm.
was thinking, is the character in that one show that's based on the Golden Compass series, his Dark Materials? That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Is there a character named Will in that movie or show or books or something like that? Because the actor who plays Will in the show, I could see as Prince Caspian. I'm like, I
Mhm.
could see him playing that role in Narnia, but I don't know. Maybe he's too old for the role now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
And
could see it.
that's
Yeah.
like I said, some fan castings worked for the time that they were like big actors.
Hmm.
But like obviously now kind of going back to the Emma Stone argument, it's
Hmm.
just like they're a little I don't want to say they're a little bit too old, but like in universe, unless like unless like this character is a little bit of an older version of this character, I don't know if it'll necessarily work out. Because there are sometimes like stories are meant to have like this character is supposed to be this specific age. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think I know we're running out of time, but it kind of makes me think of how Kelsey Grammer was in the X-Men movies, but Kelsey Grammer is like was 50 or 60 years old when he was playing Beast. But in the comics, Beast is around the same age as like Scott, Jean, and all of them. So it's like yes, there are times that like these different castings are good. The castings can work and change things, but it's like it takes away a lot. It really depends on the story, I guess. It depends on the story. So I guess we'll just have to see. I would think for going forward to the future that I think people that fan cast need to understand that like sometimes just because a lady actor is pretty just it doesn't mean that she can play a specific character. Just because she looks like a Southern Belle doesn't mean she can act like a Southern Belle. This is a jab at people that have fan cast it Rogue as somebody who's very pretty, but I don't know how their acting is. So, okay. Well, anyway, for those of you at home, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, do that all that fun stuff. Do the crap out of that. We need that. And help
Do the
us.
things do the thing that everybody is doing.
Yes, please do the thing that everybody is doing. Share this so everybody else can see. Help us boost our voices and other autistic voices. So please do all the fun stuff. I'm Dryw. That's John. That's Jenna. You guys can't see this. We're in a Zoom call. But thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys in the next video. Bye.